Jensen, and this is Lady, and we're going to give you a brief video demonstration of the obedience commands for the training that she's had. Good girl. So we're going to show you come, sit, stay, down, crate, drop it, watch me, and go to bed. Come. Yes. Good girl. There's 3 hand signals that I use. The first is a sit. And it's just a little scoop up over the nose, just like that. And she knows the verbal command too. She's just so fast at it. She did it before I even had a chance to say sit. But she knows both the hand signal, watch me, and the verbal command. The next hand signal that I use is stay. I just make a stop sign with my hand, just like that. Stay. Nope. And if she does break a stay or make a mistake, just say a casual no. Bring her back to where she was. Good girl, sit. Sit. Stay. And start over again. Stay. Okay. Good girl. And then okay is the release word, and I use it in an upbeat tone of voice. Because dogs listen a lot more to tone of voice than the words that you're actually saying. So she'll be picking up her cues off the tone of voice that you use. And an upbeat okay lets her know that she's released. The third hand signal is I make my hand just flat like this. It's for down. And I bring it down to the ground. I say down, girl, stay, stay. Okay. Good girl. She's got a nice long down stay. And down stay is a really useful command, so I recommend that you continue to build that up over time. And if you have like a natural downtime during the day when you typically sit down and watch a show or read a book or something, that you put her bed by you wherever you are and just have her do a nice long down stay. You know, start with a couple minutes and then build up to 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And she should have a pretty solid hour, 2 hour long downstay within her first year. So, come. Yes, good girl. The next command, watch me, is watch me. And that can be a life-saving command. All you're looking for with that is you want her eye contact. You want her to break her attention off whatever she's looking at and look at you. Good girl. Because the way dogs are designed, they can't multitask. So whatever they're looking at is where their mind is. Watch me. So if you can get her eyes, then you've got her mind, and you can go ahead and give her a command from there. Good girl. But it's a really easy command to teach. It's one of our foundational commands, so we've been teaching it from day one, and I'd really recommend that you continue practicing it several times a day, and always with a reward. And we use that in place of their name for a couple of reasons. You know, we like to use their name several times a day just naturally, but it's not always convenient to have a reward handy when we use their name. So we don't want it to be a big crisis if they ever don't respond to their name, but we do want to have a command that will get their attention every single time, and that's why we use watch me. Watch me. Yes, good girl. We spent a lot of time training her in the crate, getting her used to the crate, getting her happy in the crate. Crate. Getting her to go in on command. Crate. Crate. demonstrated there, if she hesitates, just wait for a second and she'll remember. Don't get too impatient and trying to push her in or lure her in or anything else. Just wait for a second and let her think about it, and then she'll know what to do. And expect her to stay in the crate until she's released. Stay. Okay. And this is part of her manners. She's been taught to hold and wait to get through any kind of a passageway, whether it's coming in and out of the crate, going in and out of a door or a gate. Always have her stop and stay and wait for you to go through and give her a verbal release. And that's kind of the foundation for the whole training program, is you're replacing physical control with verbal control. And dogs are a lot like children in the fact that they get a lot of security out of knowing who's in charge. And so, you know, some people really kind of have a hard time with telling their dog what to do all the time and having their dog check in with them all the time to get permission on what to do next. But they really like that. They thrive on that. They like knowing who's the leader. Anyway, it makes them feel really secure and at peace. Otherwise, they kind of get to feel uneasy, like they need to decide or take on that role of being the leader. Go to bed. With go to bed, we really try to magnetize her to her bed so that she's naturally drawn to her bed. So whenever we give her like a bone or something to chew or a toy, we bring her to her bed and put her down there and then give it to her. So she kind of knows that that's her spot. And when she does go to bed, I don't care what position she's in, whether she's sitting, standing, or lying down, I just want her completely on her bed, and I want her to stay there until she's released. Okay. Good girl. Yeah, that's a good girl. So the bed's basically, it serves kind of the same purpose as the crate. It's just a lot more portable and convenient than the crate is. Yes. Good girl. Yeah, you heard crate, huh? But anyway, she's done really well with both. So as far as the crate, she's been taught to sleep for up to 3 hours during the day, quietly. Okay. She's been taught to sleep quietly through the night without needing a potty break. For the first couple nights, if she cries a little bit in the crate, you know, that's normal. That's part of acclimation. Don't worry about it. Don't respond to her, because that'll teach her to whine to get your attention. But she should settle right down with the crate. Anyway, but she's done really well. Oh, drop it. So with toys, and she loves to play with her toys, and this is especially important with kids. When you're playing games with the toys, make sure that nobody ever just pulls something out of her mouth. That could be dangerous for her teeth, and plus it could get her into bad habits of trying to hang on to things. She could get a finger or something. So make sure they always ask her to release it on command. And you do that by asking for her to drop it. Drop it. Get your foot out of there. Drop it. Yes, good girl. And you don't want to be just kind of pulling it out. You want her to actively open her mouth and release it into your hand. Good girl. Good girl. Drop it. Yes, good girl. The final portion of the training program, and I forgot to mention too, that a lot of the behaviors that she's demonstrating that are not placed on command are her manners that she's been taught. And we spend a lot of time working on her manners. And these are just behaviors, like she's expected to not jump up on me. She needs to stay on all fours when she's around me. You may have noticed that when she approaches me, her default behavior, when she doesn't know what else to do, is I want her to sit automatically for a greeting. Come! And this does a couple things. When they're sitting, it really gets them planted, so they can't be wiggling all around. And also when their butt goes down, their eyes come up and look to you. So then she's focused on you and you have her attention. And you can tell her what to do next, whether that's putting on her leash or taking it off or whatever. Good girl, huh? And she's also been taught to be very, very soft with her mouth and use her teeth and her lips. I mean, use her tongue and her lips to take things from your fingers rather than her teeth. So if she gets excited and grab you with her teeth, just remind her and say, gently, and just expect her to take it very softly from your hands. So the last two portions of the training program are house training and leash training. So the house training, she's been taught to ring a bell with her nose, and I've included a bell in your packet to let you know when she wants to go outside. So she knows where the bell is at my house. She's going to need to relearn where it is at your house. So when you hang it on the door that she's going to be going out most often, make sure you rub a little something smelly on there, like some grease or peanut butter or something, when she's not looking, because you want her to sniff that out on her own and find it on her own. The more proactive she has to be in finding it, the better she'll understand what that means and how to find it again, rather than you showing her where it is. So anyway, when she goes and touches it at your house, probably the first time she touches it, it'll just be out of curiosity, out of sniffing out that smell. But be prepared to respond, because that's going to make the big difference on her understanding what that means. So make a big fuss, say, yes, you want to go outside? And I really emphasize that word outside. Give her a reward. Take her outside on a leash to a specific area and have her go to the bathroom and reward her for going in the correct place. Good girl. So the final portion is leash training. And the house training and the leash training by far take up the bulk of the time that goes into the training of these puppies. Just a lot of time, a lot of repetition, and a lot of consistency. So with the leash training, for loose leash walking, just basic walking on this short leash like this, there's two commands that I use. When I want her to go, I say, let's go. And if she's pulling, I stop and I say, easy. I expect her to put slack back in the leash. I want her to maintain this J. And when I'm walking on a loose leash like this, I want her to sit automatically whenever I stop. And she may need some verbal reminders still to do that, but ask her to sit whenever you stop. Let's go. Let's go. Come on. There you go. Good girl. Let's go. Come on. Let's go. Good. Let's go. And with the loose leash walking, I'm not paying too much attention to whether she's staying on my left side or whether she's staying on my right side or walking exactly with me. I just want her to maintain that J, and I want her to basically pay attention to where I'm going and sit automatically when I stop. And she has been taught a short heel, and that's requires a little bit more attention on her part. So with the heel, I want her to stay right next to my knee and pay attention to me the entire time. And this can be really useful when getting past intense distractions, other dogs, whatever it may be. If you just need her full attention, heel. Yes. And as soon as she stops, ask for a sit. Heel. Good girl. And you'll notice that I'm luring her with her treats. Yes. And she's still in a phase where having a treat handy there for her is going to go a long, long ways. A good off-leash or on-leash heel takes a lot of time and a lot of repetition. And so go ahead and have those treats handy when you're using the heel and when you're teaching the heel. She's been doing really, really well. I've been taking her on off-leash walks out on country roads where there's very minimal distractions. And she's been doing extended off-leash hills right next to me for a long, long ways. It's actually been really, really impressive. But just on that note, you will notice that the training program is very heavily dependent on food rewards. Whoops, sorry girl. And that used to really bother me because I felt like when I had food with me, the dogs would pay attention, and when I didn't have food with me, the dogs would kind of ignore me, and I felt like they were getting treat spoiled. But what I found is that the more consistent you are at using a high value reward like food for about the first 8 months to a year, you're going to drive these behaviors into automatic behaviors. It's kind of like an autopilot or muscle memory, to the point where when you give a command, their body's going to respond before their mind even has a chance to think about it. And they're just going to do it every time without thinking about it. what I have noticed is that if you're not consistent during that first year of giving a high value reward, then they do think about it every time. Is it going to be worth it, or is it not going to be worth it? And then they do kind of get that on-off switch built into them, to where they're going to smell whether or not you have food on you and decide whether they want to obey or not. And that doesn't mean that you have to reward her with food every single time. There's lots of other rewards for obedience. There's attention and toys and affection and lots of other things. But make sure you give a valuable reward for obedience every single time for about that first year. And then if you've been consistent, you can wean her out of that really, really easily, to the point that she'll only need a good reward every once in a while just to say thank you and to remind her that you're going to make it worth her while. So anyway, I think that wraps it up for us. Lady's done great. I think you're going to love her. She's got a sweet, laid-back personality, and that'll do it.